new jungler here. You want to make sure he's getting a good start. Don't want to risk him going against Amazing on Lee Sin.
Well, here we are then into bans and picks, and the first two coming out from Millenium, Lulu and Lee Sin. So as we thought, that would be taken away from Amazing. And on the other side, we shouldn't forget Heimerdinger. He's been banned out by the Copenhagen Wolves along with LeBlanc.
So I actually know for a fact that Curb, he absolutely loves to play Heimerdinger and solo queue. I'm not sure if he's playing it to actually pull it out here in the LCS, but Copenhagen Wolves clearly don't want to risk anything, so they just banned away from him. And of course, two jungle bans actually at least banned away here, so they really want to target Amazing. But he's a person who showed in the past. He's having a lot of different junglers here. Obviously Pantheon, he's played Wukong, Nocturne, and Evelynn as well, so there are a lot of options still for him. And the Lulu ban, Millenium as a team, their mid laner Curb, he does not play it. So you have to ban away, otherwise you force Kevin to play it.
So final ban then for the Copenhagen Wolves was Nidalee, and we heard in the pre-game show about Kha'Zix, the fact that with 4.3 became a almost non-existent pick-all ban into one that's highly contested. Millenium locked that in instantly this time.
So they really knew what they wanted here. Again, that's why they banned out two of the junglers. It does, however, mean Evelynn, of course, is still open for Copenhagen Wolves, so I think actually they will be happy enough. They don't even have to pick the jungler here in the first rotation because Kha'Zix is already locked in and they expect it to be jungler for Cotnex, of course. I do like, however, that Millenium focus on getting him a comfort pick early because it's his first game in the LCS. They want to make sure he can perform, and Kha'Zix, of course, so strong with the ultimate now where you evolve it at level 6.
One of the Wolves going to lock in then, hovering over Gragas right from the very start. Another champion that fits the Cowtard mold very well, and actually locked in there with Yasuo as well.
So Yasuo locked in, could go to the top lane, of course, would be the most likely thing here. Unless, of course, Youngbuck has learned to play Gragas. We can't really say yet. I've seen Gragas jungle in the past too, so let's see actually what Copenhagen decide to do here. But of course, they already have the synergy. Ultimate from Gragas, Yasuo can activate his ultimate onto it. So they have some synergy here. And of course, if it is going to be Cowtard on Gragas, we've seen him in the past. He loves to play this very safe champion, always able to get farm.
So while we talk about the mid lane and top lane, the bottom lane has been ignored completely, interestingly enough. Someone like Forgiven, who is pretty much split between Lucian and Caitlyn outside from a few games in there. Probably just wait to see what Millenium go for. Either way, he's going to have Lucian or Caitlyn left at the end of it.
Just like you said, there's no bans to AD carries here, so everything is open. They don't have to rush any of it. And it shows both teams here. They knew they had their plan coming in here, and they were just fine not actually just rushing a priority pick like Evelynn or like Caitlyn for Forgiven because they knew there were multiple options. So now Kraton with Caitlyn, fair enough. Forgiven can log in Lucian and he can be just happy with this. The Ziggs pick, however, for Curb can be an issue for Copenhagen Wolves because Curb has been playing it really, really well. And also it applies so much early pressure onto the likes of Gragas, for instance.
So on the other side then we see Evelynn. Elise obviously already banned, but another champion, as you mentioned, that Amazing likes to go to. If there's no Lee Sin, there's no Elise. It's pretty much Evelynn in there in the jungle, along with a couple of other little ones, you know, Pantheon, Wukong, and the occasional Nocturne in there as well. This time around though, Evelynn and the Lucian for Forgiven, a player who just farms every single game, it seems, upwards towards 500.
Every single game, and the Copenhagen Wolves bot lane, they always play full-on aggression early. They want to make sure they can get the turret early. They want to deny CS from you. So I expect them to do the same here, be down in the lane at 155 and just start pushing it instantly. Now with Evelynn here, there's nothing worse than playing against Evelynn early game because you don't have vision of her. You need to just think it to yourself, oh, she's in my lane, I can't go aggressive. That's the issue with playing against her. Unless you get some deep wards in the enemy jungle onto the camp so you can see her clear them, or pink wards, of course.
Well, it looks like we're going to be seeing the Karma support locked in here for J-Ree. We'll be supporting Creaton's Caitlyn, and also the Shyvana for the top lane for Kevin.
So I actually really like the Millenium setup here because you have the Karma Caitlyn bot lane, very, very strong lane. We know the bot lane from Copenhagen Wolves, they love to play very aggressive, they love to play very lane-focused champions so they can win the early game, and it will be very hard against Karma Caitlyn. Ziggs in the mid lane, obviously very strong early on. Shyvana is good, can have a few issues against the Yasuo actually. This lane matchup should be fairly even, and then Shyvana going into the late game, we know what a beast she can become.
So what will the Copenhagen Wolves finish off with? Looking for a support choice this time around for them, and if you look down their previous games, Karma obviously is one that they really brought to the table first in that support role. Leona, Annie, another couple of champions that they've actually played quite a lot here, and it looks like it will be Leona for Unlimited.
So Unlimited falling back on his hard engaged supports. I always love to see him play them because he doesn't hesitate. If he sees an opening, he just goes straight for it, and the rest of Copenhagen Wolves will follow. Even though it's a bad decision, they will follow the entire team. We've seen it before, so I like him on these hard engaged supports. And laning-wise, it can be an issue though. Against Karma with Leona, you're gonna be poked a lot, and if you do engage onto her, she's having the shield. It's gonna be very hard to burst down the Karma. So we're gonna see how Copenhagen Wolves wanna play this early game in the laning phase, and we also need to see if Kautot and Youngbuck decides to swap, or actually it's gonna be Kautot on Yasuo.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Youngbuck bringing a new champion, for him at least. We have seen a couple of Gragases in the top lane. Kevin himself did run Gragas earlier on in the season, very early on actually in the season, in game number 4 against Fnatic, the first time we saw it up there. Kautot with the Yasuo in the mid lane. As you said, he's got that synergy with Gragas, but he's going to be relying on that to get things going.
Yeah, he needs the knockback or the knock-up here from Gragas to activate his ultimate, unless he can do it himself, of course. And he's laning phase against the Ziggs. Early levels, actually very early on, he might be able to pick up something onto Ziggs, but then coming into around the level 6 mark, it's going to be very hard for him because Ziggs is just going to poke him all the time. And if Cotnex is nearby and he goes aggressive, he's going to die.
Well, now that the players have chosen their champions, let's see who you voted for in this game. According to LOL Esports, 69% of you picked the Copenhagen Wolves. Hard to argue, really, with that number if you look at the standings right now. Yeah,
we can't say too much to it. I mean, we need to see, obviously, what Cotnex can bring from Millenium here, but Copenhagen Wolves are the favorites. Millenium, they are the bottom team, so pretty spot on.
And I have been hearing some whispers, you know, a little bit of chatting with the players to get that inside information that Millenium have been playing well this week with Cotnex in scrims. Of course, it's all completely different when you get onto the big stage and having the pressure of this fantastic audience and the lights on you.
Well, often when you get a new player, it kind of makes everyone focus even more. Everyone want to try hard even more because you have this new player. You get some new hope saying, okay, there's a change, anything going better or worse than before. If things go better just from the start, everyone gets more hyped. And if Millenium can take this into this game now, all the good results in their scrims, they will actually, or could be, able to beat Copenhagen Wolves.
So we are going to be getting into game then here. Millenium versus the Copenhagen Wolves for Millenium. I want to say a must-win game at this point of things. As we've heard before, only 6 games for each team left to go. They have to start picking up points.
Every single game for Millenium now is going to be a must-win game if they want to go to the playoffs. They cannot go there by other teams losing. They need to just win some games here. And a thing we can notice, Youngbuck, he is obviously playing the Gragas, so he decided to take a top lane. He's starting with some good AP here, and also teleport. In 4.4, if you teleport to your own turret, it's going to have 100 seconds less cooldown. So we need to see if he decides to teleport to the turrets or how he decides to play early on.
And speaking of early on, we've had changes to those warding trinkets now coming into play after 2 minutes rather than the 1.5 minutes. How does that affect the start to the game?
Well, it simply means that if you want to invade, you're going to do it blind. And at the same time, if you're starting your own buff, you don't know if someone is coming because you don't have any vision. So it opens up for these very risky or very, dangerous invades. But it can either go really well for you. But look at Copenhagen Wolves here. Waiting around, they're expecting Millenium to walk in. And again, there's no ward, no vision. The supports both started without wards, so Millenium will have to face check Copenhagen Wolves or the other way around.
Oh, the wall's starting to move out here, and there's the damage coming down. Karma gonna put in a big blast. Amazing. Very, very low from this one. Will they chase him? There's a flash. Amazing. Flashes away, but the bomb bounces through. First blood coming in there for Millenium, and they might not be done just yet. Forgiven trying to escape. Cherry and Cotnex both moving in. They're gonna get first blood, and they're gonna take the red as well.
Absolutely perfect start here from Millenium. They were waiting for Copenhagen Wolves. They walked in there, amazing died, and also Millenium now, they wanted to make sure they got their dual lane against the Copenhagen Wolves one. They predicted the lane swap, so they have perfect lanes here. Karma Caitlyn against the Leona and Lucian, and down in the bottom lane, the teleport Gragas is gonna be against Shyvana, so we should see very good lanes here for Millenium.
Incredibly fun start, at least for Millenium and the fans here, because not the start that the Copenhagen Wolves were looking for. Counter, though, going very aggressive here on towards Kerp in these early levels, but he's been knocked into tower range. Is he going to get away? Yes, he is. Good damage from Kerp coming back there, but close stuff. Counter needs to be careful of that.
Yeah, just like we talked about here, Yasuo early game, he can dash towards you so often and get some good damage onto you. Also use the Ignite here, got the barrier from Kerp, but he needs to be careful now because Kerp, he can stay around his turret here and just poke away on Coulthard. And also if the jungler should come in, it's very hard for Coulthard to escape.
So this top lane then, the duos, as you rightly mentioned, being predicted properly, and 280 carries pretty level on farm right now. Here's the new man for Millenium, Cortex, looking to get in on that mid lane, but he's going to be stood right on top of a ward. Coulthard knows that's there, knows that he's there, of course, because of that. Does have flash as well if he really needs to be safe.
Yeah, but Coulthard really wants to make sure he doesn't have to use the flash here. But Cortex actually coming around. Let's see Coulthard. His ward is now gone, and obviously Cortex already moved around, so he didn't have vision on him. Decides to play it safe. He want to keep the flash up because if the flash is gone, he can never move past the mid lane here in risk of getting ganked.
So this bottom lane, Youngblock, for the first time we see him here on that Gragas, and already doing a good job. Actually, he's a little bit behind in CS, did a lot of damage to Kevin on that last wave though, so we'll see how that one all develops.
And Kevin actually decided to ward all the way up here to see if Amazing walked in to do his golems. He didn't want to risk him staying at the golems and then walk down to dive him. Obviously the green ward wouldn't have spotted Amazing if he didn't start the golems, so he just wanted to see if someone was there and he could safely get all the farm here and not get doved on.
So this top lane then, once again, Jerry, a good poke that comes out of Karma. If you can land it, of course. If you don't land it, then it's not going to do any damage for you. That one remaining pretty level at 23 to 26 CS. So you see the Zenith Blade coming out, just flying wide of Jerry.
But look what Jerry is doing. Instantly, as he saw the animation, he popped the shield onto himself, gets the extra mobility, and also, of course, the shield. So it's going to be very hard for Copenhagen Wolves to actually burst him down. And they're just poking away, making sure to keep them slightly away from the minions so Kraton can pick up all the CS.
And you have to wonder how Millenium are coming into this one. Be interesting to hear from them in the near future, because of the fact they've had this roster change. It obviously affects different teams in different ways, can give you a whole new lease of life and hunger to win games.
Like Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, it can also put you behind though in terms of your practice that you've got together and the synergy levels that you've got. But it is worth mentioning that, you know, some teams, when they've had this replacement, will bring someone completely new in. Cortex is not a complete stranger to these guys. However, we do have Amazing coming up top.
And oh no, Unlimited going
in now towards Jerry. Unlimited is quite low, but they managed to burst down Jerry. Kraton has to net away, and that is a kill back for the Copenhagen Wolves. Amazing just sauntering on in, and that's always the danger with Evelyn. Doesn't matter if you've got the ward there, you're going to get see her when she actually starts doing the damage.
Exactly, and that's the annoying part of getting up when you're playing against Evelyn, because you need deep wards in the enemy jungle, or you need pink wards, or you have absolutely no idea where she is. And we actually saw Unlimited, he just flashed on straight on to Karma here, took no chances of her dodging his E, so he made sure he could lock her down and get the very easy kill.
So this mid lane, Kerp, doing good amounts of damage and also having a solid CS lead at this point. 43 to 31 CS, all because of the fact, of course, that Coulthard has to get into melee range on those minions, and that's just free harassment from Kerp. Do see Amazing coming over towards this mid lane though, so we'll see if he can give Coulthard any backup. In the end though, that wave is pushed completely up and it doesn't look like he'll be able to have the impact. However, down by the blue buff, Cortex has just been into the enemy jungle. He's already backing off though.
Yeah, he's slightly behind in CS here, but it shouldn't matter too much at this point. He wanted to try and set something up with Youngblock, but decides wisely enough to back off. And Amazing now, coming down there to this bot lane. Youngblock is level 6, and Kevin is not, so he can actually knock him into the face of Amazing.
Let's see if they can pull this one off. Youngblock making sure that he doesn't scare Kevin away by going too aggressive onto this minion wave. In the end, though, they realize there's probably nothing for the taking.
Yeah, I actually think Amazing was there more for counter gank, because they had Cortex being nearby beforehand, so they didn't know if he was waiting in the bush up in the try here to come in when Youngblock pushed off the lane. That's why he was waiting around. Look at the early magic resist onto Kevin. So with Evelyn and with Gragas, it's going to be hard to take him down.
And he's slightly ahead in farm in that bottom lane as well, in the solo lane after the switch. Obviously, top lane still remains even on CS. Both AD carries do have assist, obviously one from earlier on and one from that kill just earlier on onto J-Ree. And as they start to come back in lane, we'll see if any more happens up on that top side of the map. Both AD carries are coming back in with a BF sword.
The difference here is actually for the supports, where we have the Sidestone already onto Unlimited because he picked up the first blood. So he also switched his Trinket now to the sweeping lens, and also having a pink ward, so he can deny a lot of vision from Millenium, and also he's going to provide, of course, some good vision for himself and for Given here. So very good start for him, and I actually like when the support gets the first or get the early kill, so he can get some good vision early.
And interestingly enough, these two teams have some of the longer games as well. They've, you know, maybe not, you can say struggled, or maybe you can on Millenium side, to finish out games that they've actually managed to win, that they were ahead in. The Wolves, generally, even when they're ahead, play things very, very safe and by the book. And we've got an extended laning phase coming out of this one. Both teams matching up duo versus duo, the solo lanes on their own as well. The junglers have come in a couple of times. We're going to see the blue buffs being passed over here for the first time as well. But very, very passive start, I think we can say. Aside from level 1, of course, which was just a big mess.
But the level 1 is what we're going to get now in the 4.4, when Trinkets, of course, are at the 2-minute mark, because people will invade in blind. And it can actually change the games a lot. Personally, getting the Trinket ward down to 1 minute could then fix everything, because you could put the ward, you could actually get some vision, we could see some tactical play here. But with the 2 minutes, we're going to see these level 1 invades more often. And for both teams here, of course, the fact that Millenium picked up the first spot, and then Copenhagen Wolves now just trying to farm up despite actually doing really well in the lanes. It's gonna be this passive early game, and in the mid game we need to see then the decision making. We need to see the new shot calling from Millenium, of course, come in action, because as you said yourself, Copenhagen Wolves in the past normally play very safe when it comes to the mid game, and that's actually one of the issues for them, because they give the other team the chance to farm up and make a comeback.
Also, being one of their strong points as well, we have to say, on the other hand,
yeah,
the fact that they are so stable when it comes to that mid-game. Sometimes it only takes one mistake, though, and all that stability that you've had for sometimes 20 minutes, half an hour even with the Wolves, then it can go all down the pan very quickly. This bottom lane Youngbuck is still level with Kevin, doing, as he has been throughout this one, good damage, but now we see the junglers starting to head down to that lane.
Yeah, because Kevin is on 50%, and it's a big wave from Youngbuck now, going into curve.
Yeah, but the damage not really there for him at this point. There is the bomb coming out, Coutard losing half of his HP. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, we did see Amazing coming in. Continex was there as well, and not really too much damage going to be traded by those two. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we can see a weight off here, and there is a solar flare. They're going to go for J-Ree once again. He loses half of his health. Now they focus towards Creaton, but can they turn this one around? They're going to stun Unlimited up. Have they got the damage to finish it off? It doesn't look like it.
So flash used here by J-Ree, make sure he can survive this burst coming from Copenhagen Wolves. Down in the bottom lane, we saw both junglers having the same idea, because there was a big wave from Coutard pushing on to the turret, and Kevin was 50%. So Amazing, he wanted to go down to either protect Youngbuck from Continex, or actually even just dive onto Kevin here. And of course, Continex, he had the same idea. The jungler's gonna be there, I need to be there.
Tense game. We've gone past the 10-minute mark now, just a killer piece, and we can see the gold hanging just a little bit in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. Have to give credit to Coutard. We said that he loves to play those safer, farm-heavy champions. That's not really what he's done this time around, going for a bit more of a risky lane matchup against Kerp's more safe farming champion.
Yeah, he's been actually doing a very good job. Only being the 10 CS behind is not too big of a deal for him, so as long as he can continue farming and not fall further behind the Kerp, he's going to be happy, going to get the static shift, get the Infinity Edge, the two key items for him on Yasuo, so he can really start doing some damage. And now Amazing, onto this top lane again. J-Ree can actually face check him.
J-Ree puts the ward down, but he's going to get jumped on here by Amazing. He speeds himself up, but the ulti comes down. Amazing's going to get locked up, but the Zenith Blade lands, and there is the kill for Forgiven.
Yeah, so no flash on J-Ree, was popped before by Unlimited, and also a pink ward from Copenhagen Wolves in this bush, so they knew there was no vision, and as soon as Amazing moved in there, same did J-Ree, and with no flash he was just dead. But this means for Millenium's side, with the jungler being up top lane, with the dual lane being top lane, they can take the dragon.
We had questions about how their shot calling was going to be, that we know RNA are very vocal, or was a very vocal man in the team. That was a spot-on call though, knowing that the jungle's on the top side, go straight for dragon.
Yeah, very good call, and making sure actually that Copenhagen Wolves lose out on the trade, unless they can get something going here. Amazing, he's staying around the spot lane, and look at Coutard as well, moving up, but he was spotted.
Yeah, one spotted coming in. The ultimate was used from Kevin, but the flash came around. It's amazing. Gonna come to the back here towards J-Ree. Actually, we have Curb starting to move his way up as well. Countdown is there, but in the end, not able to put down as much damage as they may have hoped for. There's a bouncing bomb which catches the back end of Forgiven. Gonna get a slow across him. Failed flash from Forgiven. Ace in the hole comes through. Blocked by Amazing. Have they got any more to throw at this one? No, I don't think so. The Wolves back away. Three of them in fact, all of them very low.
Yeah, the fact they could actually spot Kautat moving through the pink ward here in the river from Millenium's side meant they knew something was gonna happen. We had Curb throwing his ultimate to clear the wave, and also both J-Ree and Kreasan playing very passive because they knew someone was nearby here. So they actually turned around, and now Curb getting some good CS here and can push the wave into the turret.
Curb has 20 CS up over Kautat in that middle lane. The bot lane has switched in favor of Youngbuck. His barrel's starting to do a lot more damage now and can bully Kevin away from things. Kevin is coming back into this lane with that Spirit Visage back in there, so he should be feeling a little bit more comfortable at what Youngbuck can throw at him.
Yeah, but as long as Youngbuck can stay 1v1 against Shyvana, he's gonna constantly push her into the turret. He will be able to get it at some point, as long as the junglers do not interfere or the dual lanes switch around. So for Copenhagen Wolves, they're fine now with keeping these lanes. Also due to the pressure from Amazing and Unlimited up here in the top lane, they're actually doing really well in this 2v2.
2v2, 1-2-3 versus 130 CS. Forgiven somehow, even if the Copenhagen Wolves fall behind in lane phase, still somehow manages to put up those record-breaking sometimes CS numbers, as we are going to see them diving on towards Kreasan. Is he going to be able to get away? Barrier was used. Unlimited locked up, but they've definitely not got the damage to push back on this. Cottonex did come up through the Millenium jungle, but wasn't able to be in position to have an impact there.
And again, this is why I love to see Unlimited play Leona, because whenever they have a chance, he's gonna engage. That's why Copenhagen Wolves use so much focus on getting a bot lane ahead, because they know they can take this advantage and just continue to push it and maybe even get a kill onto Millenium, or at least the turret.
A lot of turret damage coming in there. Half of the turret's HP has been stripped off. Cottonex was just waiting around inside of that area. We're going to see Kautat going in on towards Curb. That's a lot of damage. The bomb comes back. Now it's Kautat going low. There's the barrier used. A good wind wall. Amazing was in position for any follow-up. No kill.
And the wind wall actually saved the life of Kautat here. The bomb would have hit him and would have killed him. So very good use of the wind wall, making sure Curb couldn't trade back.
They're actually going aggressive here. They've got Cottonex moving up through the river, but will they get in position? I don't think so. The slow not landing, but he's Amazing. Dives in on towards Curb. Curb being a little bit too cocky there, maybe not knowing Amazing's position. And he comes in, simply catches him off guard. 3-1 to the Wolves.
Yeah, Amazing was just waiting around here, and as soon as Curb just moved out to throw his bouncing bomb to the minions, instantly went in, flashed and killed him. So very good play by Amazing. And this ward actually from Millenium, they actually saw him coming towards the mid lane, because this ward has been there for a long time already, but he just stayed around and Curb didn't expect it.
And now he's going straight towards that top lane. That turret definitely not healthy anymore. And his solar flare is off cooldown, and Unlimited has been landing those nicely, but there is a pink ward in this tri-bush. Will that stop them moving in? They've got minions moving in. They might not even care that that pink ward's there. There is a solar flare coming down. J-Ree going to be focused here by Amazing. The culling comes through. That's 2 kills. 1 for Amazing, 1 for Forgiven. Tower's going to go down as well.
Absolutely perfect timing from Copenhagen Wolves. As soon as the minion wave got into the turret, Amazing was there. The pink ward didn't even matter, because they were in a position to just straight up engage. And now Curb, he wants to get something.
Oh, they manage it though. There's the bouncy bomb. Doesn't
no
land.
Flash,
Amazing
no flash.
Gonna be stuck here though. There's another bounce coming in. Curb gets it with lands that one. Takes the double buffs as well. Nice kill back from Millenium.
Yeah, and 2 kills onto Curb now. Double buff. He's having some very good farm. Once again, he's the guy Millenium needs to carry. They need him to carry them. Every single time he's playing Zex, he's doing so well. He's always getting farm, always getting kills. And let's see what he can actually do once the team fight starts.
Oh, they're going in on towards Kautat. He does put the wind wall up, just dashes out there towards the minions, but he's not going to get away. Cottonex is able to wrap that one up.
So again, very nice kill from Millenium. They're doing everything they can to make sure they can punish Copenhagen Wolves if they stay too far up in the lane, so if they play too aggressive. So very nice job. And now Youngbuck onto Kevin.
Oh, it's in the barrel there though, and Kevin's like, well, still kind of tanky at this point with that Spirit Visage in there. Youngbuck just going to drink up and probably take himself another wave.
And this can actually be a big issue for Copenhagen Wolves later in the game, because Shyvana is going to be so tanky that Youngbuck can do nothing to her, and she will actually be able to force him out of the lane. Yes, he can wave clear, but he won't be able to duel her 1v1. And that's where Millenium, with Ziggs, Caitlyn, and of course Karma, can do a 1-4, where you have 4 members in the mid lane and just Shyvana split pushing in one of the side lanes.
So Dragon, number 1 of this game, went over to Millenium after they saw Amazing in the top lane there and knew that they could take that one without any jungle pressure. This time around it comes up in 20 seconds. There's already pink ones in, and there goes the solar flare. A little bit far out. Amazing had flanked around the side, and actually that cost Unlimited quite a lot of health.
And Copenhagen Wolves, they could actually have gone for this one, but they didn't have vision, and now Cotnex onto Youngbuck here in the bottom lane, but he's all alone.
Have the damage here to take down Youngbuck. He's going to have to go very deep if he wants to.
Missed.
There is the missed barrel, but the rest of the Wolves starting to close around. They think they don't have the damage, and they'd probably be right from it as well. They back off towards their own turret. Youngbuck's going to have to recall, and it looks like Millenium may have got themselves positioned on the Dragon.
And it's so hard to kill Kha'Zix when he's popping the ultimate with the involved now. And they're going again.
On towards Forgiven. There is the ace in the hole, going to come flying through. It hits Unlimited despite his flash. Cotnex picks up that one. That leaves them at a 3 versus 4, or really, sorry, a 5 versus 4, but really a 5 versus 3 because Youngbuck's nowhere to be seen after being forced back.
And I like this Cotnex guy. He's really setting up things. First, he 1v1s Youngbuck down in the bottom lane, and he just want to force him away, want to make sure he couldn't recall before the Dragon because he was low on mana. And then once the fight actually starts here, he's the one jumping in. He's the one setting it up. So very confident play by Cotnex, and very nice to see some early aggression.
Let's have a look down some of the items now that we're approaching that 20-minute mark. We see the Athene's Unholy Grail done for Kerp on Ziggs. Also for Gragas there on Youngbuck. We just got a brief split second of him. Also got a needlessly large rod in there as he may end up getting himself caught out. He has to flash away there knowing he's going to get stunned up, a little bit out of position.
And again, Copenhagen Wolves here, they're afraid to do anything, and that's also why he's flashing away, because they don't have enough vision. They don't know where the rest of Millenium's members are. So Youngbuck, he simply felt that if I get snared here, I will die. There's going to be multiple members jumping me, so I just have to flash, even though it was actually only Jerry.
Did survive, but they've lost their turret for that one. Oh, they've picked up a turret for that one as well, knowing that the support was on that top side of the map. So that leaves us 2-0 in towers in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. But if we look at the gold, it's pretty much bang even once again. Cotnex just coming around to see that actually he's gone as the ultimate is going to come off here from Countdown. Amazing was caught sleeping there. He didn't really react to that one.
Amazing, he was waiting for something to happen from Millenium's side. I actually think he wanted Cotnex to not jump away, but try and fight against Kautot, because it would be 1 versus 1, and then he would join in, because he knew as soon as the jump was there from Cotnex, he wouldn't be able to catch him.
More pressure on the bottom lane here, possibly. Jungler along with the duo lane there, but actually they just steal those golems and they're going to back away. Meanwhile, Kevin, now that he's a little bit more tanky, feeling like he can go in between the inner and outer turrets on this top lane, gets himself a warding position. Actually, Kautar did start to come up on towards his top side, but actually won't bother with that one, wants to stick around and get the farm in middle. Kevin clearing out a pink ward as well. Not a bad little trip for Kevin overall.
And Millenium should be happy just trying to extend the game and getting all the farm, because again, with Caitlyn and Ziggs late game, and of course Kha'Zix, who scales so well, you have a very, very strong late game set up. A lot of wave clear, a lot of siege potential, of course, and then you have the front line with both Shyvana and Kha'Zix scaling well into late game. You have the ultimate from Kha'Zix, making him very hard to kill. So Millenium's setup here, coming into late game team fight, is very, very good. If they can keep extending the game, they should be in an advantage.
There onto Kautar from Kurt, landing a good combo onto him as the duo lanes are once again going to be facing off on the bottom side of the map. Cotnex is in fact there, was just spotted out, so he will start to back away from things. The Wolves know that Millenium have no turret behind them there, and as such Cotnex having to come across, and that's another good deep ward there from the Wolves that will spot out all 3 of them. Yeah,
if you look at the minimap at the moment, 5 minutes ago, they didn't have any deep wards. They had no idea where Millenium were. They played very careful. Now, they have some very good deep wards here, and actually avoiding all the pink wards from Millenium side, so they know where people are. Cotnex, he wanted to go on Amazing.
Use his ultimate to try and stealth in for that one.
A little bit too aggressive.
Might work out for him, yeah. I mean, Evelyn's pretty quick anyway.
Yep.
With those boots in there and able to pop the W, but the Wolves once again just turn around, go back towards this bottom lane. They know that the jungler's now backed away from that. They can put the pressure on, but Continex has come towards mid. Coutard with a very early flash there, didn't want any of that.
Not taking any chances here, didn't want to get slowed, and then all the damage from Curb, of course, the satchel could knock him back towards them, so just flashing away instantly as he saw the jump from Continex.
So will we go back to a more slower pace here and wait for the next dragon to be coming up into play? Millenium stay in this bottom side of the map with Creatine and JRE just happy to get the farm. If we look at the farm, Forgiven is ahead of this one. It's only 15 CS or so at this stage. If you look at the overall goal, it's 1,000 extra for Forgiven in that matchup.
Yeah, so some objective goals, of course. We have 2 turrets onto Copenhagen Wolves side, putting him ahead here, and also, of course, the 2 kills, 2 0 kills from Caitlyn. So if you look in general here at the way Copenhagen Wolves want to play the map, you see Youngbuck up in top lane, he's just holding. He just want to get farm, want to make sure Kevin cannot take the turret. Down in the bottom lane, that's why they push up. That's why you also see Amazing staying around this mid lane and bot lane area. If something should happen, he can join in. And also with the D-boards they had before, they had some good vision. They could always see Continex move around.
Top lane not exactly killable. Shyvana now moving up with a giant belt on top of Spirit Visage from earlier on. Continex also sticking around this bottom side of the map. Knows what Amazing's plan is. Not going to let his team get outnumbered there. Specifically on this bottom side where Forgiven has gone constantly and pushed this wave after wave towards the turret.
Yeah, and we need to see if Copenhagen Wolves want to keep doing it, because Dragon is up in 1 minute. If Millenium can get a gank onto them, and Continex stealthing in here, can he get to Forgiven?
Ace in the hole goes through from this one. Takes him down to about 2/3 of his HP, and here comes Kerp as well. The damage, flashed away from, and he's turned it around. The culling comes out from Forgiven. Amazing play from Forgiven. And now Kerp got to be caught in this one. Good minefield to stop them chasing through on that one. Jerry was there as well to offer up the shield, but will they try and close in? Gragas is coming through the tribut, but I think that's all she wrote for the Wolves.
And Millenium here playing a little bit too aggressive. Continex used all 3 charges of his ultimate, just getting towards Forgiven. And they knew there's been no action for the last few minutes, so both summoners would be ready on Lucian. That's why he could barrier, of course, to the ultimate from Curb, and then flash out of the Curb ultimate and just turn it around. So Millenium want to try something, but it's just a little bit too aggressive here and was too easy for Forgiven to just counter.
There is the turret taken by the Copenhagen Wolves. All 3 outer turrets are now down. See how they move in next. Dragon, of course, is live, and they are going to be moving into this one. Nothing that Millenium can do about this one. If you look at the minimap, nowhere there. And actually, that will be the first Dragon of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. And you have to feel from Millenium's side, if they'd have not taken those last 2 Dragons, they'd be so far behind by now.
Yeah, credit to them for getting the first 2 Dragons. That's very good play and very good shot calling for them, because once Amazing showed up top lane, they took the first one, and after, of course, the fight, they took the second one. So Millenium have been doing a good job when it comes to Dragons. And I actually think Continex went aggressive onto Forgiven here because the Dragon was about to spawn. He wanted to get him low, force him to recall, and they could then go and take the Dragon. Instead, though, Forgiven just turned it around, flashed the ultimate from Curb, and very nice play by him, but also a little bit too aggressive by the new guy.
3-0-2 now for Forgiven. He's got his Trinity Force on top of the Bloodthirster and the workings of that last Whisper as well. And if you look at the clock, 25 minutes in, he's got 255 CS. Doesn't seem to skip a beat when it comes to that front of things. And we'll see if he can carry his team through to victory. Generally, when the Copenhagen Wolves do win games, Forgiven has always got an impressive score.
Always. Like, Forgiven, he's the late game carrier of Copenhagen Wolves. It's not Coutard, it's not Youngbuck, it's not Amazing. Late game, it's all about Forgiven. They run these combos as well where they make sure they can shield him, they have me kills for him, everything to make sure he doesn't die, and then he builds the 6 damage item build and he just goes completely ham when it comes to the last team fights.
Pushing and pulling in that mid lane with those minion waves as Kevin is going to look to try and get in on top of the red buff, but he was stood on top of a ward. Amazing had his smite available, not really a problem there. The Wolves just stripping out their entire jungle, getting as much money as they possibly can from that one. Let's have a look down some of the items once again. Shyvana now with that Sunfire Cape, and Kevin just going to be feeling more and more comfortable. If you look at Amazing, he's actually picked himself up a Sunfire Cape as well. Youngbuck might be caught out of position here. No, he's got the body slam to get him off to safety.
Yeah, so Amazing, he wants to be in the face of Creatine with the Sunfire now. Going on to Kevin here.
Yeah, but you don't do any damage to Kevin. I don't think Coutard even will be able to get through Kevin's defenses at this stage of things. Look for that knockup, but didn't quite have the range on it. However, if they get Amazing in there as well, they possibly do have enough damage to work themselves through that one. You've always got to be wary, though, of Kerb just stepping off from that mid lane and throwing his ultimate into the mix as well.
But look here what Copenhagen Wolves are doing. They put Yasuo in one lane, they have obviously Youngblood in the other lane just to hold it, not to push it. And then Coutard here, as soon as he pushed up, Amazing moved from the mid lane to back him up if something should happen here. They want to force these 1v1s or 2v2s and then try and win them. And meanwhile, obviously the dual lane, just standing in mid lane, just wave clearing. So we have Copenhagen Wolves doing a 1-3-1, and we have Millenium with the setup to do a 1-4. Let's see actually if one of the teams can punish the other team if they try and go for the split push and then turn around.
The other thing we have to consider, 30 minutes into this game, will we start seeing the teams posturing around that Baron area? We've seen time and time again the Wolves. Now, you can't even call it a dance, it's more of some kind of marathon that they dance, that they do around there. They'll hang around it for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. They'll camp around the Baron constantly until you make the mistake. Funnily enough, that's how they beat Millenium last time, as we are going to see Talisman pop. They're going for Kurt, but he gets away from the Solar Flare. J-Ring getting hammered here, though, by the culling Cotonex, just blocking out the last couple of hits from that one. And actually, that will save J-Ring's life.
And 3 ultimates were used from Copenhagen Wolves. On Millenium's side, they still have everything ready. If a fight should break out now, Millenium will be able to control it.
Can they take this turret? Kerp hanging off to the side. Youngblood got that poke with the barrels to maybe force them away. You see that Cotonex just hanging off towards the side of things as well. That's something that we've seen these Kazakhs doing. They like to come in from the side, from the back sometimes as well, and just be a general nuisance when it comes to these team fights. Actually, Youngblood going to get warded on top of there. That will give Cotonex's position away, or someone's position away. In fact, Cotonex going to jump on through. He wants to get rid of that pink ward. Doesn't even take damage from Youngblood in the process.
But we need to see how Cotonex want to play the team fights here. He's picked up the Giant's build, so he's having some tankiness now. And if he jumps into the backline of Copenhagen Wolves, we can see him kite around with his ultimate. But we have seen him earlier in this game popping the ultimate actually to engage. And if he does that, he will be squishy once the 3 charges are gone, and he will be a focus for Copenhagen Wolves. So let's see how he actually decides to play them.
Have to hit the items here again, because we see the Infinity Edge done now for Yasuo. We just saw the last Whisper. Yasuo, we just saw the last Whisper being picked up for Forgiven as well. That's 2 items that's going to allow them to fight a lot better against this Millenium setup. Yeah,
big power spike items for both of them. Of course, with Infinity Edge now onto Yasuo, you're going to crit every time you get onto someone, and it's so much burst, that was just so much damage in general you can put onto targets if you actually get to them. That's where of course they need to time the ultimate for Youngblood or the knockup from Coutard himself.
More farm for Forgiven, 320 after less than 30 minutes. As Coutard here going to get chased down by Kevin. Going to stick to him here, but how much damage can he do? It's a lot of damage coming through. There's the culling. Ace in the hole will go and be blocked out there actually in the end by that wind wall.
It's a very good wind wall again, but Coutard, he's often the focus for Millenium. When they go for a target to poke them down, they find Coutard here, making it hard for him to engage. The bomb back in, now they engage from Unlimited.
Solar Flare went down only onto Kevin though. We saw the Talisman being popped, so they're going to come in. There's a great barrel from Youngblood, completely splitting everyone up, and Coutard's running amok. Double kill for him already. Cotonex will try and jump away. It was a triple actually in the end there for Coutard. He did go down, but he's shut down by Kevin. But now Amazing, he's chasing on towards Kerp. He's got vision of him. There's the speed up, but actually he's decided to leave him. They might as well go pushing these turrets now.
An absolutely perfect team fight for Copenhagen Wolves. As soon as the bomb from Kerb was used onto them, they just engaged. Look at this here. The bomb from Kerb is used, only hitting 1 member, and then instantly engage from Unlimited. They go in and out here. Amazing coming in, taking some damage, and then Youngblood from the backside. 4-man ultimate. Yasuo jumps onto it, picks up 3 kills for himself, and Kerb, he's on the wrong side of the wall here, so he's not able to join in again.
And they tried to track him down, but actually in the end, the Copenhagen Wolves were able to take the Dragon from that and the middle inner turret as well. So 2 big objectives picked up from them there. That's 4-1 now in turrets and a good, healthy gold lead.
Very good gold lead for them, and this is the time for him now to keep up the pressure. We see some armor now onto Yasuo, so he's going to go in for the Guardian Angel to make sure once he's jumping into the face of Millenium, even if he should get bursted down, like in the last team fight, he will still be able to join in afterwards. So I like this pickup for him, and also I like the fact he actually doesn't want to go Last Whisper early on, because he's already getting armor penetration from his ultimate, so He doesn't think he needs the last whisper yet.
Kevin got himself the Cutlass now and a Giant's Belt added in as well. We did see how much damage he can do chasing down a couple of members just a little bit earlier on, and now again he hangs around by that red buff, keeping the vision up. Will spot Amazing, and Millenium are making a move for their second turret of the game. You're not going to stop that one from going down. The Culling coming in a little bit too late. He'll get the minions, but won't keep the turret up.
Very good pushing power here from Millenium with, of course, Caitlyn and Ziggs and Karma, just making sure constantly pushing the wave up, and as soon as Copenhagen Wolves were out of position, they could take the turret. And everything counts at this point because there's 6,000 gold behind. Every time they can get a turret for free, it's gonna help them get back in this game, because again, the late game combo from Millenium is very, very strong, so as long as they don't fall further behind, they're still in this game.
42 minutes into this one, as Kevin once again going to be chasing off towards Amazing, who himself is decently tanky. We continue working himself up towards that random. He's got a Sunfire Hex Drinker in there already. There's a pink ward for J-Ree, and Amazing's actually going to come through, stops him taking the pink ward, at least for now, and clears out the ward of his own.
Yeah, so again, as you just talked about with the tank items onto Evelynn here, very tanky already, and with the shield also from his ultimate, whenever Amazing goes into the face of Millenium, he's not gonna die. He's gonna be able to jump back out, and that's where the rest of Copenhagen Wolves can join in as soon as Amazing is having all the focus onto him.
See that Baron dance started off here by the Copenhagen Wolves. They've got full vision control of that area. A couple of pink wards being used to solidify the views that they've got of that one. Amazing, just throwing a cheeky hate spike off towards Cottonex. But Millenium, they're not messing around, making sure that this mid lane keeps on push through. They've got actually to deal sometime soon with Kaltard, as Youngbuck going to get knocked against the wall. They're going to dive in. There is the ace in the hole. It goes on towards Unlimited. There was Kurp's ultimate as well. But look at Amazing coming from behind. He's spotted by the pink ward. The Culling stops them pushing too much onto the turret. But look at Kaltard in the bottom left there. He's going to take down that inner top turret.
Yeah. Okay, Youngbuck was actually caught out here, but it's still fine for Copenhagen Wolves. It's too easy for them to defend when all 5 members from Millenium are just pushing up the mid lane. The whole minion wave was gone, they couldn't hit the turret, and now Kaltard in the bottom lane onto the next one. So too easy for Copenhagen Wolves because Millenium just group up as 5.
He's going down towards Baron. Youngbuck and Unlimited are fairly low, but they're going to start this one off. Will Millenium be able to come back through? We do have Kaltard, who's the last man to join this party with that Guardian Angel only. Going to keep it going. He's going down very, very low. And there is the pickup for the Wolves. They managed to get it on towards Kevin, but he's not really the target they're looking for. They have lost Unlimited, but look at Forgiven hammering his way through there. Managed to get one out of the fight. He'll finish off the second one. And now the Culling coming in on towards Kevin as well. Amazing having to run ace in the hole. He gets out of vision of that one. In fact, no, he didn't. It's because Caitlyn died. The triple kill comes in the end there for Kaltard. A double kill for Forgiven as well. The Copenhagen Wolves can push everything down here.
Yeah, so Baron for Copenhagen Wolves. They had 2 members dying early in the fight, but Forgiven, Kaltard and Amazing are also strong. They just stayed in there. We saw actually Forgiving dashing down 1v2 against both Kreaton and J-Ree, forcing Kreaton to back out of the fight here, and then he could join in with the rest of the team and finish up all of Millenium. And they might actually try and finish this game.
It looks like they're going to here. Let's have a look at the countdowns. J-Ree's up in 5 seconds, but everyone else at least 10 seconds later. This is going to be the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. A valiant start for Millenium, but the Wolves proving too strong once again.
So 2 very good team fights for Copenhagen Wolves. The game was very even. Then we had the mid-fight. Copenhagen Wolves won it, they pulled ahead, and then now they start the Baron. Instantly after they force Millenium to back off, take it, and turn around the next fight and win it. It's a very smooth play by Copenhagen Wolves.
And you have to say, it wasn't all bad here for Millenium. Definitely stronger performance than we've seen from them recently. I mean, their loss to Gambit last week, you have to say they almost didn't turn up whatsoever to play in that match. This time they did give the Copenhagen Wolves a tough time, but I also have to point out that the Wolves have had a tough time against a lot of teams, and even the wins that they have picked up, they've had struggles. They've had very early to even mid games in those ones as well.
Well, Millenium did fine early on, but then once we actually got to the team fighting point, we had the one big team fight in mid lane again. Copenhagen Wolves won it, and from there on, they didn't feel like there was anything they could actually do. Normally you would send Shyvana to a side lane, but because Yasuo was so strong, they didn't feel Kevin could actually 1v1 him. So they sent him mid lane instead, pushed up with 5 members, Copenhagen Wolves responded, pushed them back again, killed the minion wave, and Kaltard, he was just pushing up in the top lane, getting 2 turrets here, and from this point on, there's really nothing Millenium can do, because if they can't 1v1 someone with Shyvana, they force her to be with the team, and then it's too easy for Copenhagen Wolves to just dictate the map. So after the lost team fight in mid, the game was actually over for them.
I have to point out, and I feel like I'm singing his praises maybe a little bit too often during this game, but Forgiven, we saw him there once again. 5-0-5 he ended this one. 35-minute game, 390 CS. Above average CS again for Forgiven.
Credit to Forgiven, credit to his support, Unlimited. In the laning phase, as soon as they got ahead from Amazing, helping them up in the top lane, he just engaged every single time, and whenever he engaged, Forgiven followed up. They just won lane from there on, and then getting into the team fights again, it's always Unlimited who starts it. He's the one setting things up, so we have to give credit to the dual lane. Both of them playing so well.
A good start to the week for the Wolves as well. If you look at their last 5 games, they only picked up 1 win, which was against the Super Hot crew, losing the other 4. And at this stage of the season, you want to have kind of the 5 previous games to that, which were all wins for the Copenhagen Wolves. It'll be nice for them to get back to winning ways as we start to close out the split.
Of course, but you can also turn around and say now they've seen some of the issues, because that's why they lost the game, so they can fix them before the Super Week, before the playoffs coming here. So for them, I guess it goes both ways. Imagine if they had won 5 games now in a row, and then once they got to Super Week or playoffs, they started to do some mistakes. They didn't see them because they were winning games, and just started losing, and you would actually get nothing. So I think for Copenhagen Wolves, they prefer having fixed the issues now, coming into Super Week and playoffs looking stronger, and if they play like they did in this game, yes, it was against the bottom team, but still, the fast decisions, the very good team fights for them, if they can manage to do that, coming into Super Week, I actually see them going to playoffs, and they can be an underdog.
And the fact is that a win's a win as well. It doesn't matter if it's against the top team
or
the bottom team, although it's the teams that are around your area and the teams that you could be tie-breakered with. That I don't think that's an actual word, but you get my point from that one. Those are the teams that you really need to win against. From Millenium's side, roster change coming into this week. Cottonex, for me, showing up in this one. I mean, 4-2-1 by the end of it. Showed good pressure throughout, but honestly, they were just a little bit too far behind in that last fight. That what you're going to do? I mean, you can get right into the middle of them, but if you're going to be controlled anyway.
He did a good job early on. We have to give him the credit. Yeah. And then a little bit too aggressive. I think he just really wanted, he got a good start, he got some confidence, he really wanted to keep it going, want to try and just win the game almost by himself. And Copenhagen Wolves, they managed to punish it, but the very last team fight, he actually picked up a double kill. So he did his job. He actually showed, as you said yourself, good early game pressure here. And while he did 1 or 2 mistakes, it's his first game, it's normal. Let's see him actually coming in tomorrow, what he can do.
Well, a great win for the Copenhagen Wolves, so let's send things over to Shox and Demon, who are standing by with the Wolves as Forgiven.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe. And hello, everyone. I'm Efi Shox supporter, joined by Lee Demon Smith, and we have Forgiven here with us from the Copenhagen Wolves to talk about that win. Forgiven, first off, the Heimerdinger ban. Tell us why you chose to ban him this time.
Our coach predicted that actually Kevin or Kerp would have some practice in